VAR. Forget the offside rule and trying to get your head around that one. I'm speaking mainly to ladies there, and I can say that even though it sounds a little sexist. And forget Wimbledon's Hawkeye. It's not just sport where the rules are heavily scrutinised. Try being a new royal like Meghan Markle. There have been a lot of changes in her life since she married Prince Harry. She's deleted all of her social media pages, changed her style of clothing, and according to an online magazine, she's even had to stop eating shellfish to avoid the risk of food poisoning. It looks like princess lessons are starting to pay off, though.
All right, Miss Vivian, one more time. Dinner napkin.
Dinner napkin. Lay gently in the lap.
Good. Elbows off the table. Don't slouch. Shrimp fork. Salad fork. Dinner fork.
I definitely have the salad fork. The rest of the silverware is a little confusing.
All right, if you get nervous, just count the times.
Shall I order for you?
Yeah. Please do so. Thank you. Who ordered this?
The gentleman did, ma'am. Bon appetit.
These are escargot. It's French for snails. It's a delicacy. Try it.
Slippery little suckers.
It happens all the time.
Oh, I want to watch that movie again. How many times have I watched it? Too many to count. Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman having a battle with a snail, which she then accidentally flicks across the restaurant. Maybe it's best if Meghan stays away from any form of shellfish, actually, because it could get messy. You wouldn't want to be flicking prawn juice at the Queen now, would you? There are other royal rules that she'll be having to abide by. Grant Harrold is the royal butler, and he can put us straight. He can tell us which is truth and which is myth. Good morning.
Good morning, Mum.
Oh, I'm loving that. I think that's the first time you called me that. So, right, you're on every week from now on if you're going to call me that. I could get used to that. So, I mean, obviously that clip from Pretty Woman, first of all, is probably a really good kind of example of Meghan Markle has mixed in very well-to-do circles because she's had a great film career, but
Yes.
but it's going up many levels, isn't it, to then be within royalty?
What's really interesting, and I might be wrong, but I think one of the clips you played, which is very sad for me to say this, but I think it was Princess Diaries, and that was quite interesting, that movie, because it is a bit kind of where you've got the American girl marrying into a European, a British royal family, and there's this minefield of what to do and what not to do, not just in the dining table, the way they dress, the way they walk, the way they talk, everything. There's kind of, if you like, kind of rules, not written down rules, just kind of unofficial kind of rules that are kind of there to keep everybody right, to keep them right, and to keep the public right.
Oh, Grant, you've let yourself down. It was Pretty Woman. It was Pretty Woman, the clip we were playing.
Was it?
Oh, I've not seen Princess Diaries, but it's a similar theme, isn't it? That there's somebody who doesn't understand how to kind of deal with high society, as it were,
Yes.
and learning all the do's and don'ts of that. Now, I mean, let's get down to the nitty gritty here. So, Meghan Markle, has she had to change her handwriting, as it's been suggested?
No, absolutely not. I've read this as well, and without any question, they don't change the handwriting. I mean, I'm lucky enough that on many occasions the Prince of Wales would have written letters to me, and his writing's famous because it's not the easiest to read, and they didn't suddenly have to change it so that we could read it. So I think the reality is they don't change the handwriting. If a member of the royal family, I'm dyslexic, so let's just say somebody was dyslexic, and obviously that's a bit different. They might need a bit of guidance so that we kind of understand what people are saying, because I'm there, I understand that problem. But as far as the general day-to-day goes with writing letters, no, nobody's going to change anyone's handwriting.
Yeah. Okay. So handwriting, that's clearly a total myth. Right. Has the Queen had an incident where someone's flicked a prawn at her and she's now banning all the royal family from eating shellfish? Is this what's happened?
I hope not in my watch, but no. What it is, and I might even have a bit of insight to this. I did an interview in a certain couple of magazines about royal diets, and one of the things it's known is that with members of the royal family, they avoid seafood for the simple reason of that if they have a scallop or something that's off, then they're going to get the poisoning, and I've been there. I've had the poisoning. I know how long it can take to go over it, and if they're on official duties, it can be a disaster. So therefore, it's advisable, I would have said, to avoid those kind of foods. So again, I don't think there's anyone saying to her, you can no longer have seafood at all, because of course members of the royal family can have seafood. It's just they won't take it possibly if they've got a busy day of engagements, and it's just for obvious reasons.
Is it true that Meghan Markle and, the other ladies within the royal family have to wear tights, whatever the weather?
Okay, so one of the kind of old traditions with the royal family is they dress formally, and you see that with the kind of royal ladies, especially at the garden parties. They've got the kind of beautiful day dresses on, the hats on. They've got the neutral kind of nail varnish. It's same with the tights. The tights are normally skin toned or neutral. Not that I'm an expert on this, but they're normally the kind of more kind of subtle colours. Nothing too bright, nothing too outrageous. And yes, that's what royal ladies wear. I don't think there's anything saying that they have to, because Meghan Markle on her engagement, if we remember, she didn't have tights on, which was famously commented in quite a few papers, because it was unseen to have a member of the royal family without tights. But again, historically, you look at other members of the royal family, they don't have tights on obviously all the time. I mean, if they're going to go to the beach, I doubt they're going to have their tights on. So I think that there's occasions that they will, and there's occasions when they won't.
Yeah. Actually, with Kate Middleton, as I still refer to her as, she started out life, with the royals. Once her and William had got married and they were doing kind of their official visits and whatever.
Yeah.
There was a bit of discussion about how short her skirts were, and they seem to have lengthened over time. Would that be the Queen saying, Kate, come on now?
No,
Not
I don't.
ladylike.
I think it's just the reality. It's part of that. When you're younger, there's certain fashions that you go with, and as you get older, those fashions change. And it's the same with the royal family. You see the younger royals may dress. They certainly dress differently from the Queen, and then as they get older, the kind of fashion changes. I mean, the length of the skirt is something that they kind of say that it should always come to the knee or just below the knee, never above. But I've seen royal princesses where they'll have the skirt just above the knee. So again, it's a personal choice, and it depends on what the dress code states. So I think that they always look beautifully dressed wherever they go, and of course there'll be people who keep them right with these kind of things. But as I say, it's just as they get older, the fashions change.
There's the travelling rule as well, isn't there? Which is key. It's for security reasons, of course, isn't it? This.
What's that?
The fact that they're not allowed to all travel together.
Absolutely. So there is this rule that you can't have, for example, you wouldn't possibly have the Queen, Prince Charles, Prince William, and Prince George all in the same aircraft together, because if anything happened, you're wiping out the line of succession quite dramatically. So therefore, they do travel separately. But on saying that, you've all got the Queen and Prince Charles traveling together. You'll get Prince Charles and Prince William traveling together. You'll get Prince William and Prince George traveling together. What you won't get is all of them at the same time traveling together. And as you said, it's a security thing, and it's to make sure that if anything happens, it doesn't drastically change the line of succession.
Now that's interesting, because in this article, which said about the shellfish, which is nonsense clearly, and the handwriting, I'm assuming this bit was nonsense as well, because they suggested that William and Kate are not actually allowed to travel with their children unless they ask permission from the Queen. Is that not true then?
It's possible that at one point you would have asked the Queen if you were making a journey and you're going to have certainly the children with them. But I think today it is more relaxed. I mean, it would be a bit kind of unusual today if you had the young royals going around, not for all visits, but for certain visits, to have the children with them. And I'm sure we'll see Prince Louis join the rest of the family when they do overseas trips. Possibly that they do have to get permission from the Queen, but again, I think it's one of those kind of rumours. Put it that way.
Now, while you're on, because obviously you've cleared up the myths from the truths here with Meghan Markle, but obviously in this weather, I mean, you are the brilliant etiquette expert. Now, I have seen, and actually I had this conversation with my youngest son. He's 10. We were out gardening, and I said, look, put some sun cream on, take your t-shirt off, and just wear your shorts. Right? He was mowing the lawn. He said, I'll do that in the back garden, but I'm going to put my T-shirt on to be in the front garden.
Oh, fantastic.
Are you impressed with that?
Oh, I mean, this is wonderful. This is fantastic news. Oh, he's going to go so far.
Shall I
can
sign him up
tell.
now? Could he be a
Yes,
future royal butler?
Yes. Oh, he could be a future royal. He knows exactly what he's doing.
I knew
This
you'd
is
like that.
great.
So really, there are grown-ups really who could learn a lot
Oh.
from him, aren't there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, let's get him out there spreading this word. I mean, how many times do you see men out there who, and I know some ladies disagree and they like to see the men with the tops off, but quite often you'll see the kind of men who've got how do you put this discreet, in a kind of nice way, the beer belly, kind of
Yes.
men, and they kind of see themselves as Baywatch, but for the rest of us, it's a scene from Crime Watch. I mean, what can you say?
So let's get this clear, Grant. So everybody knows the rules. When it comes to, and we're talking about men here particularly, when it comes to
Yes,
taking your
yes.
T-shirt off and being bare-chested, where are you allowed to do that?
Behind your closed curtains in your home would be ideal, but I mean, of course, realistically, if you go to the beach or you're a swimming pool or somewhere, of course you do that. What I'm going to do is when they're in the middle of town and there's no need for it, and it's not a very good look, there might be a few of them that may be able to get away with it, but for majority of us, and I'll put myself in those brackets, it's not a great look, and you don't want to put people off their kind of lunches or dinners and teas. So I think the best thing is to kind of keep covered up.
Keep covered up unless it's very much in private. So a private enclosed back garden, possibly acceptable. Certainly
think,
within
yes.
within the privacy of your own home. Elsewhere, cover up, please. It's the gentlemanly thing to do. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, there we
Absolutely.
go.
When you see the back garden, as long as you've got a 20-foot wall, absolutely perfect.
All right, I didn't realise it's supposed to be that high. Grant Harrold, lovely to talk to you this morning.
Likewise.
Take care and we'll speak to you soon. That's Grant Harrold, the Royal Butler.